Have this Katz for real, who we're calling Cat or Cats, and this is a 16 hand 5-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Cat's My Song. And he's had a handful of post track rides here now, and so in this ride, he's having his introduction to jumping, which really just means introduction to trotting and cantering over some poles and some tiny coops and flower boxes and that kind of thing. I think of my current group of new horses, this is definitely like the sporty eventer type of the group. He has a really nice uphill frame, really soft in his mouth, very much wants to be round, great balance gaits. I mean, beautiful trot, even better canter because it's super balanced and uphill. And I just think if I was going to pick one to bring along to an event, this would definitely be the one I would pick. So, of all the horses in the bunch, probably because he's the most sort of uphill and bigger moving of the bunch, he is, I usually like to begin by walking over everything a bunch of times, but he sort of told me when I got on that he would rather just start by trotting. So off we went in the trot, and he has walked over poles and things like that in previous rides. So it's not like we skipped that altogether, but on this ride, he just sort of was like, when we started walking over some poles, he just started wanting to jig over them a little bit. So I just thought, even though I might like to do something a certain way all the time, you have to be able to sort of bend and change things a little bit depending on which horse you're riding. So we had a little trot around, and I did just pause to walk for one moment, just to walk over this pole to make sure that he was the same happy to do the things horse that he was the last time I rode him, which obviously he seems it very much. So back into the trot we go, and then we just start trotting over everything in the ring. I think that he has some really lovely movement, and I don't know what he's seeing. Actually, I think I do remember that there was a green tractor in the field across the street that, of course, everybody wants to stare off into the vastness across the street. That sort of had his attention a little bit. But anyway, as I think I was saying, this horse is a really beautiful mover, really soft in his mouth. He's going in the Hermspringer duo, which is definitely, I think, the bit for him, at least at the moment. He was a little bit sore last week after he got his feet done and we pulled off his hind shoes, but he's obviously totally recovered from that now. He looks great. He feels great. That was a better turn that time with keeping the outside shoulder straight. Okay, so I trotted a single pole at nauseum until I was very overly confident that he was good to go. So then on with some other things we went. He almost thought about cantering there. He gave it a half a thought. But honestly, when they're doing jumps that are literally pointed at the gate and towards the barn, and they're happy to sort of plod over them and not rush back to the gate, there's a silver lining there about their brain and their mentality that I kind of appreciate. And I like the shape he's giving me. Now I've been on him for probably 5 minutes or so, and he's just sort of relaxing into things and starting to sort of drop his neck a little bit and relax over his top line. So do those flowers. Again, he almost made like a half canter step thought as he went over that and then opted for the trot, which is totally fine. I don't want to chase him into the canter. I want him to figure that out for himself. And then that was even closer. Even closer. We're getting there. Everybody's on their own learning curve. I I think now my mom's moving because we are going to go to that little blue and white coop. Yeah, and sort of like the other things up to this point, just like quite unimpressed by that. So I thought we would come around again and just sort of swing a right turn here off the track and do it one more time. I like to do everything at least twice before I call it good, just to make sure the first time wasn't luck. And actually, the second time was so much, well, I'm not going to say it was so much better. It's not that it was better, it's just that he's finally had a little light bulb moment there that it makes a lot of sense to make a little jumping motion and land in a canter. And then he maybe took that idea and rolled with it. He had a much more exuberant jump going back the other way, which is hilarious. So we're going to just cross our diagonal and make our way back around to that and see if we can jump it in a little bit of a less of an over jump. You know, they have to sort of go from one extreme to the other. The one extreme of just trotting over the coop, not even trying to make a canter over it, and then the pendulum swings to over jumping the coop. So we want like to find the happy middle ground. So funny. So he over jumped it and then he went back around and he just decided to just trot over it again. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I know I'm just like, it's like at nauseum. I'm just doing the same boring little loop over and over, but I just want to keep doing it until I feel like he has found that he's had that light bulb moment and found that perfect little middle ground where we want him to be. And actually, that was good. That was a good indicator there. Landed in a super cute left canter. So now I'm just hoping that he's going to do the same thing here. And if he doesn't, it's no big deal. We're just going to come around and do it again. But sure enough, he does. And that was very cute and perfect. He has a very lovely canter for jumping things. And there I was thinking, this is a great canter. If he wants to come on and canter this pile of poles, I'm all for that. But a couple of strides out, he told me he wasn't quite ready for that, which is no big deal. Excuse me. That was very cute. Again, great canter. And then that's the first time we're jumping that empty flower box on the center line. And he was super, super brave. No overjump that time. Just really brave and clocked right up to it like it was no big deal. I really like the shape he's making. He looks really soft in his mouth and his top line, which he feels that way also, but it's nice when what you're feeling is also what it looks like. And then that time was even better. He landed on the left lead. Good super canter. So I'm just trying to gently encourage here the idea of keeping the canter. And there we go. That was very good. So now we're going to come to the raised flower box, and this is quite funny. I mean, just so honest and brave. He has not seen that at all, and we just trot right up to it. He never thinks about ducking out of it or running by it in the least. He's always going, and he just doesn't know how. And so he just makes a huge effort, leaves out probably 2 steps that we should have put in there before we left the ground. But just what an honest horse that was. So now obviously I'm hoping we're going to come around and do it with a little bit less overjump. And I gotta say, he put that together really quickly. That was so lovely. Then I had the bright idea here of this canter feels really good. I thought we might canter those cavalettis, but that turn is really hard on the short turn going by the gate, and I just didn't have his shoulders enough. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just continue cantering here. Actually, that was a really nice athletic jump. So that felt quite brilliant. And then I thought, okay, well, we still got to go over these Cavalettis one more time. But here he's just telling me he's tired. So we sort of fall over the Cavalettis, and I'm like, that's plenty. He was excellent. He really is a really athletic, sporty, really cute horse. I was very pleased with him.